Yeah,
Tomorrow,
Andrew, myself, and Gary, we're all here.
4:30. So
Finance.
Oh, God, yeah.
You want to pound the gavel
Yeah,
for
no,
finance committee? Gary? Ready to start finance committee?
Okay.
I don't know that there's an actual chairman of the finance committee, but.
Nope.
Oh, sure. I'll follow him up.
Chris, Andrew, Bill, and Gary.
Yes.
Quite an austere committee. All present.
And
So I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of December 8th.
and second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Close of the CSO finance reports for the period ending September 30th, 2023.
That's our end of year.
Mhm.
In the packet. And the finance, and this ties into the audit as well. That the finance committee should be looking at the final year ends, approving them, make a recommendation to approve the primary board. And then in the next meeting, we'll have the audit review. And that should be good. Any questions on the finances at this point? Pretty straightforward. Always spending a lot of money.
Yeah, but it's coming to a conclusion, so that's. Hooray.
Motion to accept the year-end financial statements.
I'll make a motion.
Gary,
I'll second it.
Andrew seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? They are accepted. Other business? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Gary,
I'll second it.
Andrew, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're adjourned. Audit committee. Roll call, Andrew, almost as austere. The audit committee, Andrew Golden, Gary Nathan, and Maggie Alex. I only say that because there are only 3 members on this committee, not 4. Any questions on the minutes?
Mm,
No, I'll make a motion.
Maggie makes the motion. Second,
I'll second it.
Gary seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, 3 members say aye. Weston Company, 2023 audit.
Okay, so Amy apologizes for not being able to be here today. She's ill. I am Michael Rossi. I'm another partner at Weston Company. I have been at these meetings in the past. And I go all the way back to the beginning of our audits with this organization. So you have the draft financial statements that Tom has provided. They are September 30, 2023 in draft. It's my job to present them to the audit committee. The audit committee's job to make a recommendation for acceptance. And the audit starts in the same way it did in the past. Pages 1, 2 are our independent auditors report. That is what we do as a profession. We attach opinions to management's financial statements. And in paragraph 2, we say, in our opinion, the accompanying financial statements present fairly. This is an unmodified opinion, highest opinion we have as a profession. The audit goes very well here. Tom does a great job with the books and records. There's no material journal entries. And that has been the same opinion that is carried through. I just found out it was Tim at the beginning, then Magdi, and now Tom. The balance sheet on page 3 is pretty straightforward, as Tom was saying in the finance committee. The only asset that the organization has at this time is $41,359 in cash. And we had small accounts payable of $14,000. And then due to communities, $26,410. At the beginning of this, we decided that any monies that were left over would not become net assets of the organization. They would be due back to the communities if this ceased to exist. So that's why it is due back to the communities, the difference between the assets and liabilities. Page 4 shows the statement of activities, which is nothing more than an income statement. And it shows that we had revenues of $16.7 million this year and we have spent that $16.7 million. Most of our things go into project costs. Page 5 just shows the prior year where we had $20 million worth of revenue and $20 million worth of expenditures. After that, you have the notes to the financial statements. Those are pages 9, 10, 11, and 12. And this just talks about the nature of our activities, what we do as an organization, how we do our accounting. It goes into the fact that we do not pay income taxes. We have an exemption from income taxes, and we do feel that we've done nothing that would hinder our exemption of income taxes. So that is the notes to the financial statement. And then finally in the packet on page 13, it just shows the cumulative cost of all of the communities over the time since the inception of the project. So that's the financial statements. As Tom said, pretty straightforward. Our only asset is cash. Our only liability is a few accounts payable and the due back to the communities if we cease to exist. So that is the financial statement for September 30, 2023. This financial statement is due to Paris on December the 31st. It's 3 months after year end. Additionally, there is a copy of the 990. The 990 is just the numbers plus some information that the federal government requires. And the 990 is due 5 months, 5.5 months after year end. So we have some time to file that. But it is imperative that we do the Paris report on time, and I guess we're gonna do that this week or next week, so it'll be done on time and uploaded to Paris.
Any questions for Mr. Rossi?
No, thank you.
Hearing no questions, motion to recommend approval by the full board? Or does this committee have to accept it?
Committee has to accept it and then the full board will take it.
Gotcha.
Recommendation.
Motion is for this committee to accept the audit.
I'll make a motion.
Gary,
I'll second it.
Maggie, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, great. Other business? Hearing none, motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Maggie,
I'll second it.
Gary, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. All right.
Okay. We're early.
Do you need me to stay for the full
No,
board
I
meeting?
don't.
I don't think
Thank you,
so.
sir.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And if any questions arise, you can just email Tom and Tom can get a hold of us or can individually call us at our office, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Safe travels.
I'm on my way to Hatford.
Plattsburgh? Oh,
Crank up the
Mike, hold on one
miles.
second.
Yes. Oh, we're signing the rep letter?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you very much.
You can get your envelope back.
Thanks, Chris. I'll send you a copy.
Just send me a copy of 10, PDF.
we had to wait till 20 after.
Yeah, or slow, it's
All right, I'm gonna mute the meeting.
So, officially call the meeting of the corporation to order. We've got myself and Chris Powers here from Albany. We got Gary from Cahonas. We don't have Rensselaer here today.
We can substitute.
Got, all right. Andy Groveland and Troy. We don't have any water bleed representation. We got Maggie from Green Island. We don't have any sewer district people. We've got Mark and Martin and Tom from CDRPC. I don't know if we have anybody online. Mike knows something, but
Doesn't look like anybody's in the waiting room.
and we've got a quorum and we can do business.
And you got your recorder.
Yes, the microphone is on.
Yeah, that's, thanks.
And we're unmuted.
Mm-hmm.
And did anybody have any comments on this, on November's minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept them.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Financial report as of December 1st.
Okay, we're, again, other than a small amount of money that was reported last month from Albany, $1.3 million roughly. We've had no other activities. That's 12% of our long-term control plan budget for the year ended 2024. And we have $26,000 in the bank, which equals the net due to communities. Any questions?
Okay, no action required. If no questions, we'll move to the finance committee. Who's gonna give us that point? Mark?
The finance committee approved the year-end financial statements as of September 30th, 2023.
Made a recommendation then to do that, so we need a resolution from this board to accept the financial report.
Mm-hmm.
Gary?
I'll make my recommendation. Motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second them.
Maggie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Audit committee,
The audit committee accepted the 2023 audit and was gonna make sure that the audit was filed in Paris by the end of this calendar year. And this is presented
Paris with the ABO. no?
ABO.
Yeah. I almost got away with it too. Badly kids.
So this, even though it doesn't have an asterisk, it's an action item for this, the full board. Accept the audit.
Okay, so should I have a motion to accept the 2023 audit?
I'll make a motion.
Gary,
I'll second it.
Andrew, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. The tax filing, let's go along with the audit stuff. We've got forms in front of us that would have to be executed by president, and so I think the resolution is for president to be able to sign these documents so that.
President treasurer.
Have a motion,
The treasurer is role mapped into signing the
Yeah.
treasurer.
990.
And it's actually an approval to allow the CPA firm to file electronically.
So,
it's just.
Two actions. The board authorizes the treasurer to sign it, or
Accepts the tax returns as they are presented and authorizes the treasurer to sign to have them filed.
okay, that's it.
Okay, who wants to do that?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Second, Gary, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed. Motion carries, director's evaluation results.
Yeah, I mean, this year, thank you for those. While it did take some prodding, I think we have close to, well, some participation in the evaluation here. The consensus is that, you all agreed to the questions that were asked. One person somewhat agreed to the board, identifying areas of most risk to the authority and works with management to implement risk mitigation strategies before problems occur. Happy to hear any other feedback that you'd like to make public.
Just a note, these get submitted in aggregate to the ABO. It's another box.
So it's a box to check in our reporting to the parents each year, and, so,
And I would say, if people were selecting disagree, that would be something to digest. But nobody is, and so this seems rather perfunctory, but it's a requirement.
yeah, I think the main risk we've had is just
Cash flow.
whether we get, have some ineligibility in some of our costs with EFC that, would mean that we'd have a problem with our financing. And, that's been a struggle, but I think actually we're gaining. So by the time we get to the end,
They will have finally figured it out,
You're optimistic.
just in time.
It will be swimmable.
so, do I have a motion to accept the evaluation results?
I'll make the motion.
Andrew, have a second? Gary, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, then authority budget office reports.
These are more reports that are required for submission to the authority's budget office. They include the annual report, the investment report, property report, and the risk report. Anything you want to add, Martin?
I will say these are largely boilerplate, because we describe the nature of the corporation. And the activities, I like to point back to the website, because that's something that's not stale. It's something that is a lot, living, so that way we can constantly update it. So the only note I'll make is on the very back of the annual report on page 6, let's say Exhibit A. Back when we had a lot of project activity, I'd like to provide an exhibit. We only have 2 or 3 active projects. So what I would suggest is just striking Exhibit A, and I'll list the website before I file it. So that way the report is consistent. Nobody's looking for an Exhibit A. As you look through, you'll note for investment report, we don't make investments. We have an account that's collateralized. Real property, we don't have real property. For risk assessment, the risks that we just mentioned are similar to the risks we've had in past years: cash flow, acceptability of expenses, and straightforward. Then when it comes to measurement report, I really talk about how the program is performing against the order on consent. So we don't have any projects that are lagging, and we don't have any open enforcements. So it's really a copy of last year's, other than changing dates. It's nice to have everything be smooth in the report. There's nothing earth shaking to report. And I love our website, because if anybody wants to find meeting minutes, how the structure of the organization works, well, project reports, they're all posted there. So I don't even know if they're looking. I never get feedback on what I submit to the ABO. So.
They don't give us any attaboys?
Well, tell us your report is due and your password changes every 6 days, but you can't use an old password. I'm like, well, clearly, I'm trying to use a password.
Okay, so, we need a resolution to, accept these and file them with the ABO.
I'll make a motion.
Maggie, second. Gary, second, all in favor? Aye, opposed, motion carries. And we move to vendor invoices.
Would you like me to bring them up, or the spreadsheet, or the individual invoices, or?
We
They should already have been printed, right?
Yeah, the corrected ones have been printed. So you should have the printed ones. You have 2 pages, one totaling $2,495,000, and the second page of only $2,400 of change. We just had a print problem to get that all on one page. The total of the invoices is $2,498,236.16.
So we're, mostly all of this is with, Beaver Creek, except for
One
Harbor,
from
Park Street, and we're trying to, get all these up to date and, everybody on a similar, thing with EFC, so. Is there any questions about,
I got a question. And it relates to the invoices. At some point in time, you have $5 million on the back end of a
Right.
grant.
Yeah, that's.
yeah, and I've got,
Yeah,
I've
IMG.
got some spreadsheets when we talked about project updates.
Just let me know when that starts kicking in for the invoices on the back end, because I still have it hanging out. I
Oh,
believe the
yeah.
state divided it up and
My
wait till the
spreadsheets
very
will
end.
show you where we're at. with
Okay.
that, so. Yeah, we're getting close.
Okay,
I think if we're not there with this set, but we'll probably next month. The big thing that's hanging out there that'll eat it up is the retainage on Keller's to phase 3 and phase 5. They have like $1.7 million hanging out there in retainage, which is kind of somewhat unfair with Keller not being able to start up stuff. Now, we just had a notice from National Grid that they're intending to turn on our power like January 15th. So I'm asking, can't you do that already? But, yeah, we haven't, maybe we'll need some, help from the mayor to,
okay.
in regard to getting that power turned on, because Keller can't test out the equipment until there's power.
Right.
And that, and the electrical gear and transformer and all that are there, it's just grid has to come and check it out and turn it on.
Wow. Yeah.
But we would like to get, at least get into winter type operation, because our winter operation is just screening.
Mm.
And if we can come in and screen and show that we're in beneficial use, then we could say we're substantially complete and we could be releasing retainage.
What's the day you need it on? I'll ask for 7 days earlier.
We're already passing sewage through the facility, like it was a little bit tricky yesterday because of, we have a bypass pipe from the influent, from an influent chamber.
Mm.
So all the flow is going through the original trunk and through this bypass pipe. And the rest of the time, we have the dry weather flow going through the plant, but just bypassing the chlorine contact
Mm.
and bypassing the screens and going down, but without having power, we can't test the screens, we can't test.
So how about we just say we need to turn on now?
Buckets, we can't test the chemical feed stuff.
Okay.
So that's sort of where we're at, and I can explain more with the finances only a little bit further down the agenda, I think. Or that, maybe that's next. So we have a motion to pay the invoices. So these, we have I'm forgetting how this exactly works with Albany, but we have Troy getting a disbursement from EFC probably maybe this week.
Mm.
Goes has their paperwork in, which might be next week, and then Water Elite's paperwork is to Amanda and it gets signed, and that would get us all of these not only through our process, but getting paid through EFC so it can come back into the board's account and get paid.
Well, from a standpoint of the Troy money, which I think is this week,
Mm.
because we both use Pioneer Bank, they authorize a transfer to us, it's good funds the same day, so at that point, we'll just automatically turn around and turn it over to Albany. So that'll happen within a day. So if the money comes in tomorrow,
But does the controller have to authorize that?
Right, that's the question.
that's he has to get that done. So
Right.
once that's done, the transfer can happen and the money can move.
Do we have to send you an invoice, or just thought?
No, it's automatic. Okay.
But Andrew had the paperwork on the invoices for the 1.6, but you had the 2.6. Did Troy already have all those invoices and does Andrew need to get them again to make sure that they get included in the transfer?
Well, the 1.6 is all they're gonna get, right?
1.6 is what they're getting.
Right.
The 2.6, did they already get those dispersals?
I don't believe so.
And does Andrew have that?
And Andrew has all the 1.6, the invoices from, he has the list, but not the actual invoices. For the other million and change that came in after that dispersal.
Have any of those invoices been, none of those other invoices have been paid? To make up the other million?
That the billings that were approved by the board from July, August, September, October, those have not yet been paid. The 1.6 is from May to July,
But the previous ones,
all paid. Prior to May, Troy has paid everything.
so the 2.6, only the 1.6
Paid.
has to be paid.
Right, so the newest ones that you have not yet submitted to EFC for Troy, like the ones from today and
The ones from today are gonna be in our,
next time.
are gonna be in our number 11. We've only been paid through 10 and right, the other communities are gonna be matching our request 10.
Yeah. So as
And these
those
are gonna be
EFC
these are gonna be request 11.
yeah, so all the things that come in the next request, and the same process occurs again.
Okay.
Now, everybody has, well, Troy has the list of everything that's open at this point, not including today's numbers. These will go out again, and now, I talked to Gary earlier, I'll send him everything today or tomorrow. Maggie, I'll get everything out to you for the same purpose, and I have Waterfleet all ready to go. So the only one left is Green Island to do,
Okay.
well, Rensselaer to do, excuse me.
Okay, so, do I have a motion to pay the invoices?
I'll make the motion.
Maggie, then the second,
I'll second it.
Andrew, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So.
So I'm looking, so our submission 10 catches us up through this 2.6, or is it, or part of this is all, I got a little lost, I'm
These are
sorry.
gonna be in 11.
These will be 11.
These are gonna be 11.
Yeah, so 10 was through what?
10 is, okay, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and Paul Johnson has these. But what he's been doing is that he's been actually sending us what to put into the cost summary. Because he doesn't want anything held up. He doesn't want us to put it in and find out that something's held up. He wants to tell us, well, he has the invoices and he tells us what to mark into the, into the thing, and then we pretty much get paid the next week.
Okay.
So we're trying to be, catching up with him.
Okay.
So project updates, I did have a couple of spreadsheets. And our new senior accountant, whose name is,
Zhao Ting.
easy for you to say.
Zhao Ting Lu, actually, full name.
I'm gonna keep them up.
You want one? You want to know what they said?
And maybe you could, oh, you got it enough. It's just not gonna be easy to see on the screen anyway. But I was thinking that would be more for the online guest, but
Our show's
online
getting
guests. You got one already?
extraordinarily low
Oh,
ratings.
you don't need it.
No, we've got a Nielsen rating of 0.
I'm trying to get extra paper out of me, aren't you?
To make the airplanes.
Thank you, Tom, organizing these ones before this batch shows up here. Thank you.
We're keeping WB Mays in business right here. Absolutely, exactly it.
So I don't know if you had seen this before, Martin. I think I passed this out the last time. But this is my
Control sheet.
every project in the long-term control plan
Open.
that's included on a cost summary of somebody's finance.
The exception Rensselaer, who's credited, operating off credit.
Well, Rensselaer and Green Island don't, don't have VFC financings.
So you're not tracking them.
So I'm just
because-
tracking
Okay,
what we have on financings, what are line items and cost summaries for EFC. And the one thing that's a two-pager, I'm trying to highlight in yellow where we haven't actually gotten any disbursement yet. So we have some things that they've never deemed to be dispersed. Like the first column that's our C4, 5402, 1400, that was our first tranche, which is actually going long-term now. And if you go all the way to the bottom of this, you'll see that we still have some money available. So we still are gonna try to get some of these yellow highlighted things to get paid, and we're just trying to draw down that final amount. The next line is our second tranche, the 1401. The 0103, the 03 was just because we had grants on Maryline, so they made it more complicated. But we're still, that financing for us, we still have to get some stuff for outside community metering, which that's a Troy stuff that we're still trying to get some of these Troy projects dispersible. We're gonna have a Teams meeting with EFC today and find out. Greg Bold is working with Andrew to try to clean up some of this stuff so we can get this dispersible. But there's some Hoosick Street stuff in Troy, and there's some 123rd Street things. There's some CDM Smith stuff that had to be either it's gonna be dispersible or not. But
Right. We've got that.
there's Polk Street on Troy. The Endurance Street, we were just, the engineering part we were having on our one financing. The construction part is actually on the 04, which we don't have, we haven't closed on yet, but we should be closing. But we tried to get some of the engineering stuff on some of these earlier financing. And Columbia Street Phase 2, we've had some, we've had a disbursement against that, but I'm thinking we have something else, but it's kind of waiting. I don't know if what you have is gonna be the final. What we had today is Carver, that's Columbia.
There's another disbursement that's gonna be coming in because the change order only got approved
So the final,
3 weeks
so
ago.
final pay app will probably be in January.
Yeah.
And Fleet Street, final pay app.
Hopefully in January, believe it or not, Newcastle, because of their management, they could have submitted a payment like 2 months ago. Why they haven't, they're in total chaos, it seems.
I think they had some management problems.
Yes, they did. And yeah, personnel and management. But at any rate, they are due a payment. The project is done. We're just waiting for them to submit a pay request. So that we can turn around and access the last portion of our GIGP grant, because we can't even do that
Who's their
until they
PM?
submit a payment.
Who's their PM on that project?
Well, Mike Miller's handling it.
No, I mean on Newcastle's end.
Oh, Sarah. Yeah, I know.
Well, we still have $3 million. If you look at the bottom of these pages, we still have $3 million available for these.
We owe them about $1 million.
So we've, so really most of what's in this 01 has all been done, except for some final payments on Bleed Street and Columbia Street. Right, and then we had some, for some reason, I'm still showing we didn't get some disbursement on some of the CERPC.
They should have everything that they've asked for on those.
But
And the BE plan.
it might be that we got them on the 00, but we're kind of waiting on the O1 to do another disbursement till January because Paul Johnson is concentrating on getting out to the
O1.
Creek
Okay.
things and, so it's where, Paul has been great to us, but he is only one guy who's
Yeah,
processing so many different things. So he kind of is asking us, which one of these things you wanted me to do first and second, and it's a little tough.
Yeah, going back to your spreadsheet, under the 14-00, the improvements to the 11 regulators, that should be, if you put in, actually, most of that was covered under grant.
Most of it was grant. The big item was MJC at 154.
Yep,
Well, that was it for you guys. That was
Right.
lumped together in one project. But that was, I think that was 75% grant.
right. So you can put in for that. Last time I knew, everything was cleared up because they did have some questions about a year ago.
Yeah, about how much was grant and how it was paid out and.
And the last thing I knew from Karen was that everything was fine. So you guys could put in for a disbursement on that to try to use up some of that remaining funds because it should be clear.
And you're looking for 58%
58%.
of 25%.
25%.
So you can squeeze the blood out of that, out of the rock, but.
But the same thing that, for Middle of Fleet Street. Because she had questions on that, and that's clear. And that one involves a few bucks. I mean, you're talking just under $1 million between the AE and the
Yep.
construction. So if you get 58% of that. And I think Karen had said last time, again, that was, she was supposedly missing information on both the regulators and Middle Fleet Street. We got both of those cleared up. So you should be good to go for both of those.
Yeah, well, I can go revisit with Paul then about getting this remainder because, here again, he was wanting to concentrate it on the Beaver Creek stuff for me and.
Yeah, because Middle Fleet Street, you're owed over 500,000.
And Troy, when you look at their 00 and their 01, there's been no disbursement against Troy's 01 at all. So there's $8 million available. And a lot of these, if they've already been dispersed in Albany's things, and they should be
Disbursable to Troy's.
dispersable to Troy. And I'm not sure why no disbursement requests have been made, but there's $8 million. And if Troy's been using bands to finance these things, I'm sure they'd rather not be paying interest on bands.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Columbia Street Phase 2, I mean, eligible amount here is like 4.6. But with the change order, it's gonna be 5 point something. So.
Yeah.
Even at 36 or 38%, you're still talking a chunk of change.
Yeah, that's quite a bit, yeah.
So I don't know, Andrew, if we need to meet with you and Greg Bolden and EFC
Okay,
and see, because some of these things, all you need to do is
ask for the money.
ask Paul,
Yeah.
ask Paul,
Who usually does that? Like, who's done that in the past? Did Chris do that? This disbursement request?
yeah, I don't know how Chris was handling doing these disbursements, and apparently not at all. For
For a while.
Right, it
one
looks like, right,
finances.
it looks like they haven't been getting it.
But if it's only just asking Paul Johnson, hey, if you've already got all the paperwork and you've dispersed to Albany on some of these things.
Right,
Then
divert some of that.
it must be, you could right now fill out a disbursement request for things that have already been
Right.
cleared
Mm,
and get a chunk of money
mhm.
on both of these financings. And I think your OO already went long term. And I'm surprised that I'm surprised, there's a couple $1 million left on it. And in fact, I'd asked Paul Johnson about that on ours, because we have some money left and on other times, they've just taken some of that money off of your first principal payment. But
Yeah.
he said it wasn't necessarily, you didn't necessarily have to draw that down
Right.
immediately. So I'm surprised they don't want us to draw that down. I mean, we're already into an amortization schedule, but we haven't drawn down all the money yet, so to me, it seems a little weird, but.
But yeah, and we can use the money. We're getting into a cash crunch because our vans are almost all used up. So,
So I think in January, we could go back to these other financings and see if we can get more of the money from EFC so that Growers and Troy can be thinking about paying off the bands and
yeah,
we can get our part for anything we owe to the other communities.
but the other thing is, yeah, our vans are almost all used up. So once they get used up or so, we're gonna be out of money except for our normal contribution to the sewer fund. So that's why, you know, we're gonna need some of that so that we can turn around and pay you guys.
So we need to get all the money we can out of EFC in the next couple of months. We really ought to see if we can close up some things. And the other spreadsheet, that one page thing, it's got some of the same information on it. But it really, I'm kind of showing in this one what the costs of data are on some of these projects and what pay app we're up to and submitting to EFC and what pay app we're up to now. Like it's pretty much up to date with today's list of things showing that we're at 48 million cost to date. You know, our total program is 54. And you know, so far we've used the $10 million in IMG and the $5 million in WQIP. Although EFC takes it as though we used that 5 million, but we have 500,000 that we haven't collected because DEC won't give us that.
That's right.
Until completion. So this is kind of a snapshot of what, and I know what your question, Martin, too. I'm trying to think, we probably should all get to the same point at the same time that we're into the last 5 million of IMG money. And I'm not sure how that's exactly gonna work out here in this thing, but you see here, like, we're showing an available balance of 6,384,000. When that available balance is 5, then we're into the last IMG, and the other communities aren't really involved in the disbursement requests anymore because
You just take it off the
that
top.
last 5 million will be, we'll just have to do the Albany paperwork. So that's how we're netting out the IMG.
So they'll appear on your invoice summary as invoice, and then the second column, if it's 0, it's just gonna be 0. So you're approving the invoice,
When does that actually kick in?
last 5 million, I understand.
As soon as you cross that threshold, that there's only 5 million left of work, then that's when the second IMG grant kicks
That's
in.
my understanding is last 5, first 5 in, last 5 out is the grant.
Okay.
Yeah, the only other twist to that is I'm still showing $1.5 million in contingency.
Right,
So that it might take
yeah,
a little more to get to the last 5 million because you still have some contingency left.
yeah. And you gotta make sure that it's EFC approvable change order in the contingency fund in order to make it.
Yeah, so your change orders, have you already got them to EFC?
EFC, yeah, they had that. When you got your copy, a copy went to Karen and to Mike. So, and you'll be getting, like I said, the AE one this week, as soon as I can get the mayor to sign the amendment.
Yeah, and we, at the company board just did a change order for the drilling of the tunnel at the Friday's meeting, so that's another change order that's,
On its way.
coming up. And there's one more that we know of that has to do with the paving in front of the Toast School there that, is gonna be in that project. And then hopefully that's it. So that is, I think in a nutshell. So we kind of talked about other projects. Is there anything more? Van Buren isn't really started yet, but it's under contract
Yep.
and Fleet Street and Columbia are really done except for some minor stuff and final payups will be hopefully in January, February.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And Little C, like I said, we had put in for a WQIP grant. We got the report done.
And they haven't had any announcements on WQIP yet.
No, so we're keeping our fingers we see what happens. We
It's weird,
briefed,
it's part of the CFA process, right? QP?
Yeah, but they didn't announce anything on No,
It's strange.
was
We got our
that gonna be a
announcements
separate-
from OPR.
it. They haven't announced on the WQIP.
no,
They announced on WIA. And
right. But they didn't do anything in WQIP. And matter of fact, the annual inspection with Bonnie or whatever, so not only did we do a CSO BMP inspection, I brought her around a little see, I said, well, and she had not gotten the engineering report from EFC. She said, I knew you guys were, I didn't know that there was a report submitted. I said, yeah, like September. So we're sending her a copy of the report in case DEC doesn't.
It's just.
I mean, EFC, so, but she liked which is good. And I've got CHA still doing design work. And after yesterday, I gotta get back to them on a couple of other restrictions that we found in our system off a manner. So we're gonna include those in the suicide.
Okay, now when you go to the design phase after the preliminary design phase, your engineering is gonna have to have DPE requirements because of the.
Oh, yeah,
Because of the bill money, so.
And my priest bless the tracks and everything.
And, yeah, so, and we've got two CSOs we're being eliminating at Skylar and Liberty. And we gave CHA a contract for it, but we didn't have them start any work because, they're waiting on that, we just wanted to have a dispersible thing for that. We are moving ahead with our tide gates, which isn't really a long-term control plan thing, but trying to keep the river out of,
Yeah.
Beaver Creek. Because we have this multiple flap fabricated steel thing that was put in the nineties and is all warped and leaks. Is that, and that got bill money and we have money last year, and Kelly's got the contract, but it's taken him a long time to get his waiver request in, and we told him we're not gonna final sign the contract. We're gonna
Take
get
your waiver.
waiver request in, because we got caught when we did the sewage pumping station at the Harriman campus, awarding a contract and going multiple payment applications in before we can get any disbursement. And we didn't want to get caught in that situation again, so it's been a learning experience. And it seemed like nobody in Albany County got wind. And that,
I noticed that.
none of the communities in Albany County got wind. We do something bad?
Be successful.
Yeah,
Past success is judged against you.
So that,
no good deed will go unpunished.
so we've been waiting to decide what we want to really pursue with financing applications in 2024, because without getting bill money and RIA money and other stuff, it's like, well, I mean, we're gonna finance the total amount and not get any of this money that's supposed to be available.
That's also coming out in drips and drabs.
We were especially disappointed because we put in for lead service line replacement stuff, and people have been bragging about our program and.
Yeah, stuff getting off the
Don't pay
ground.
money.
One of the things that is encouraging now, Timmy Burns used to be at EFC and then went to Arcadis.
Yeah,
Timmy now works for EPA Washington. And he is in upper management there to push out guidance and the money from the infrastructure authorization. So considering, he's an Albany guy,
You got a friend.
yes.
okay. So we might have,
We might have an end.
I have a federal EPA guy. I think we've got to the end of our agenda. Do you have any other business? Do we have no other business, kind of a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Have a second.
I'll second it.
Andrew, all in favor?
Aye.